All right, we're at Shenley Plaza. It's approaching 10 o'clock. A group of maybe a dozen or so youths dressed in gray and black had assembled. Now it looks there's only about 5 or so. However, the first person to attend I'm speaking with, what's your name, sir?
It's JJ LaTourelle.
JJ LaTourelle, where are you from?
Originally I'm from Santa Barbara, California, but I moved here last December.
Yeah, you going to school?
Yeah.
What is that for?
History and Philosophy of Science.
Very cool. And a while ago you said you decided you're not one of the organizers or ringleaders, but you decided to show up in solidarity.
Oh, well, I just think that there weren't really organizers or ringleaders. And I was in solidarity with the kids last night, or pardon me, on Thursday, who seemed like they were really abused by the police.
I'm getting some glare behind you, so I'm just going to turn this way. So tell me more about why you decided to show up today and the abuse that happened yesterday and what you think happened yesterday in the last 2 days.
Well, because I think that the police state is something that is not just in Pittsburgh, it's not just in Oakland, and it's not just around the G20. It's something that happens all across our country in communities of marginalized communities, poor, where their spaces are taken away from them by the police. We happen to be very fortunate. I was detained last night, but I'm a privileged college student. I was let go.
Was it your, I mean, just take us through what happened last night, you know, step by step. A group of people came together, what was going on, then what happened, then what happened?
Well, the police were here when I arrived earlier, like 8 or so. They were in between the Hillman Library and Posfar. And then I was in the library for a while. I went out when people started to aggregate around 9:45, and we were there until almost 11 when the police started moving in force. They lined...
So the people were just there, and the police started moving in force.
Yeah,
so,
the people.
Well, was there any provocation, taunting, throwing, anything like that?
In fact, everyone vocally said, "Do not provocate. Step away." They didn't order us to disperse at all until they had enclosed the entire grass area.
And this is the grass area right over there, right between the two
area.
libraries.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the far corner over there was left open, and then they gave the disperse order. Everyone left and started walking away. Went on to Forbes, and by that time they had blocked off that street and were coming down Forbes towards us.
So they ordered people to disperse from here.
Yeah.
And they did.
We were walking
but they stayed together mostly and walked that way.
We stayed together.
Yeah.
There was a person with a megaphone who tried to engage the police in dialogue, but that didn't happen. So he ended up saying, "Why are you going to, ruin our fun?"
Okay. All right.
But really, we weren't aggressive at all the entire time.
And then you were together walking over there, and you said police came down, so you were cut off when you were going in that direction?
Yeah, they cut us off down at Forbes at that stoplight, and then they pressed us there, and then they drove us into the hedge. So people...
Drove you into the hedge?
Yeah, they started moving forward, and so people, like a couple people fell over in the hedge, and some people went around. We went onto that field, and we're walking away up towards 5th Street, and went up on the hill there, and then realized that the police had circled around the entire block of the cathedral.
Had they been using any riot control agents or special weaponry or stuff at that point?
They had they hadn't used it, but they had the sound cannon on the bear, and they didn't use. And they did use tear gas and bullets later on in the evening. Later on in the evening,
so it continued dispersing and getting pressed up in that direction?
Well, we were dispersed over there, and that was about, when we were arrested after some time, that was about 46, 47 people. But lots of people were arrested along the streets, and those people, usually the people who weren't involved in this at all, were the ones who I saw that were tackled, who had been shot with beanbags. One guy, when we were in the holding cell, looked like he was in shell shock. He had taken off his shirt and he had bruises all over because they had shot him with, seemed like, pepper bags, he said. But he couldn't really talk very much.
So you were in a bulk that moved in that direction and got pressed in the hedges and dispersed. It sounds like the people behind us further east of Shenley Plaza got some rougher treatment. Is that your impression?
Well, they ended up shooting a gas canister at us, which hit a friend, and they were shoving us and threw us on the ground. But we were really not aggressive at all.
Okay.
I can't speak to anything else that happened.
Okay.
Really.
The only other thing I can think to ask is when you got this dispersal order from here, for whatever reason, and you started moving with a crowd in that direction, where did you have the feeling that you were going? Like, what did it seem like the game plan was as you were moving this way?
Well, I thought that Shinley Plaza is a strategically terrible area for anybody to protest because it's a square and all these are. So I was pretty well aware before we were kicked out of Shinley Plaza that everyone who was there was going to get arrested. Then they closed in from all around. I mean, they had a helicopter to help them with where we were.
And during the course even of the chaos, did you happen to witness any physical retaliation, like I said, throwing things or,
No one in my area threw anything at the police except words.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for your time, JJ.
Thank you.
All right, take care.